Everybody, that on my screen right there is the internet connection speed test I did literally just before going live on this video. Okay, so even the latency is very low. So am I pixelated or is this okay? Let me know. Let's get it straight on with this video. Yesterday, I did a live discussion with my friend and lettings agent Christian Byfield in London, and it was a really good video. Had a really good turnout and a lot of good reactions. And today, I wanted to read you some of the landlord reactions to yesterday's video, and I'll let you decide what you think of them. Now, for those of you who didn't watch the video yesterday, there's a link to it in the description below. We had about a 1 hour conversation and took a few questions as well, because I was basically saying that I don't think a tenant who's in their home and has done nothing wrong, hasn't breached tenancy agreement, behaving well, paying the rent on time, looking after the place, should lose their home against their will if they've done nothing wrong, at least not without enough notice for them to find a new home. And one of the things that came out of yesterday's video was that most landlords are actually pretty reasonable, and most landlords don't say, tough shit, get out, you've got 2 months. Most landlords will say, look, if you need a bit longer, then that's fine, just let me know, but you need to go, can you please go as soon as you find somewhere? But there are still a lot of landlords, and it's still officially, according to the government, the number one cause of new homelessness is Section 21 evictions. That is official government data. I linked to that in yesterday's video. Christian said in yesterday's video that that's because, in his experience, a lot of the tenants say, hey, look, we need a Section 21 eviction, otherwise we won't get council help for becoming homeless. Well, okay, I hear that, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they are unable to stay where they are and they need council help. So having thought about that, that was my reaction to that point. But let's get on and read you some of the landlord's responses to yesterday's video in the comments. By the way, that thumbnail there is, if you haven't seen the video, watch out for that thumbnail. That's the thumbnail of yesterday's video. So, just say a quick hello to anyone. Hello, everybody. Mr. Beats. Hi, guys. Super Ted. Robert Smith. Robert Smith says, sorry, Charlie, you are so wrong on this one. Right. Well, let's just have a look. Let's have a look and see. So let's get on to the first one. This is in no particular order. So Stephen Green on YouTube said, he quotes Christian saying, you know what? I'm going to take a punt on this tenant, quoting Christian at 33 minutes into yesterday's video. Stephen says, I often take people new to this country. I have taken on 2 people who admitted mental health problems, a bankrupt, a family who asked for and got 10 years of stability in one house, a pregnant 18-year-old and her boyfriend, a family that I waited a month for over a single person who could move in a week, and today, a care worker, single parent with no references. I strongly suspect she will sublet. I don't hold anyone back over the 1 month notice, although in 7 out of 10 cases, they didn't clean and left crap behind. Where has that got me? A few tens of thousands of cost is the answer. That's a risk I've been prepared to make. However, being over-leveraged and losing money, I must now reduce my exposure as I am not prepared to bankrupt myself to be a martyr. My crystal ball wasn't showing 13 interest rate rises, so I am taking my ball away and selling wherever I can. Okay, by the way, to those of you new to the channel, also wanted to remind people that this is also an audio podcast. So wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, you can find, just look for Moving Home with Charlie, and all of these live streams also go out on audio podcast. Afterwards, I will link below to that in the notes under here. But just so you know, you can find most of my live streams on audio podcast. So that was Stephen Green. Let's go to the next one. Now, the next landlord didn't hold back on his criticism of me. Dav71221 on YouTube said, that Christian guy saved the video. Charlie was disappointing with his argument. I'm equally disappointed with your spelling of the word argument there, Dave. But anyway, some points just made no sense. If a landlord has a property, there are external factors out of their control which may make the investment no longer profitable. Yeah, I accept that. I'm not saying that landlords should do this at a loss. I've never suggested that landlords should do this at a loss, which is why I'm also against rent controls. Legislation or even personal situation like divorce or loss of job, yeah, cool, that's okay. But he then says, by Charlie's point, the landlord shouldn't make any change and must continue on the same path even though things have changed. It's not quite what I meant. I'm just trying to avoid people, especially people with families and children, being effectively tossed out when they don't have anywhere to go to. Most landlords, I'm sure, would just say to the tenants, "You need to get out. Don't make me do a Section 21. How soon can you get out?" I'm not saying that they have to stay there indefinitely in certain circumstances. It's just the notice period. I think I really care about. So that was that comment. Next one, we've got two on this slide. So Mike Parrott says, I own a property that I rent out, I assume he means. I agree that I have a moral obligation to the couple that rent from me. I despise the buy-to-let and low-margin landlords. They need to become extinct. I save a huge amount for repairs and maintenance from the income. Cool. Lee Pops says that Christian was a brilliant guest. I am an accidental landlord, and the only reason I thought about doing a Section 21 eviction is the proposed abolition of Section 21. However, I am renting out to a family and simply could not do that to them. But I will stop being a landlord when this family leaves. So Lee Pops is a landlord who basically agrees with my principles. She's thought about Section 21, decided not to do it, but will stop being a landlord when this family leaves, right? Thank you. That's someone after my own heart. Next one. Purple Badger on YouTube, Purple Badgers says, speaking as a portfolio investor, I remember when I was renting decades ago. Of the 5 rental properties I had, I think he means renting out, only one was ended by the landlord because he wanted to sell. Oh, so sorry. No, I've got that wrong. When he was renting, so when he was a tenant decades ago, of the 5 rental properties he rented, only one was ended by the landlord because he wanted to sell. However, that one was ended a fortnight after I had lost my job and 1 month after my partner found she was pregnant. The stress involved for us, just because a landlord wanted us out in order to sell SAP, was immense. So, I'm with Charlie. That 15%, and he's talking about the 15% that are evicted using Section 21, that 15% matters, and tenants need longer notice periods. I always try to work with the tenant for the homes I provide, as long as the tenant largely keeps up with the rent, because they're homes, not properties, even if the occasional tenant is a nightmare. Thank you, Purple Badgers. Thank you. Yes, I'm not alone in my views. And I just think it's, when you apply a bit of humanity to this situation, it makes everything better, because you can irreversibly alter people's life chances if you force them out when it's a bad time for them, if they're all paid up and everything else. I do get that landlords have some difficult situations as well, but just try to give as much notice as you can. Talk to the tenant, work with them. Now, this final one was a private message to me, a WhatsApp message to me from someone who watched a video, and I just thought it would be fun to read it out because it made me smile. Just saw your live stream. Christian was really good. I think, as a landlord-hating commie, the thing I took away was that instead of removing Section 21, etc., it's actually a simplification of the rules for both parties would be better, is what he meant. I do wish and would like a basic standard of home for everyone. I don't like his blasé attitude of, oh, if you fuck up and get a CCJ, then you don't deserve a home. Or his, did you not think about buying a home, you idiot? But overall, seems like he's working the hands he's dealt. It was a good stream. I liked it. But also, fuck landlords. Give people their basic requirements to live. Like, yeah, give it to them. Like you would an education. I don't see the harm in letting people have basic food, water, medical care, and shelter. So that's an interesting point of view. Anyway, guys, I just thought there were some really interesting responses there. My position hasn't changed. I mean, I learned a lot from Christian yesterday. Interesting point of view. And yes, I do agree that landlords should not be left out of pocket through circumstances that are beyond their control as well. I do agree with Christian that being a landlord has to pay, otherwise nobody would do it. And he made the point that, if people who provide food and gas and electricity are allowed to make a profit and the public buys shares in those companies, then why shouldn't people who are providing accommodation make a profit too? I haven't got a problem with that, because the market sets the rent. The rents are very high. That's down to policy problems and failures by the government. It's not down to landlords. The market sets the rent. Landlords can't just choose whatever they like. They won't get more than market value. So I do agree that a good landlord taking a long-term view and looking after their tenants is entitled to make a profit, which they can use to upgrade their properties, to repair and maintain and all the rest of it. They do take on a lot of risk, landlords, as well. So I do think when it works well, as I think it does for most people, it's great. But there is a minority, and as Christian said, 15% of 4 million people renting, that's a lot of people. There's still hundreds of thousands of people affected by this. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. And don't forget, follow me on X at moving_Charlie, where I do daily updates. Have a good one, guys. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.